Have you ever wondered why so many millennials, despite working harder and longer than any previous generation, still struggle to build real wealth? The truth is, most millennials will never be rich, not because they lack intelligence or ambition, but because they're trapped in a cycle of financial mistakes, cultural pressures, and outdated advice that keeps them from thinking like the wealthy. From the moment they graduate, they are hit with student loans, skyrocketing rent, and the expectation that they should figure it out without anyone showing them the real path to financial freedom. Unlike older generations who had access to affordable homes, pensions, and growing industries, millennials face a completely different reality: stagnant wages, a volatile economy, and a world where traditional financial advice like save money and invest in a 401k is not enough to actually get ahead. But here's the kicker. While most millennials continue following these old rules blindly, a small group is quietly doing something different. They are leveraging emerging opportunities, mastering skills that the market truly values, and thinking strategically about money in a way that compounds their wealth exponentially over time. And that's the key difference. While the majority are stuck trading hours for dollars, this small group is building systems, assets, and multiple streams of income that don't require them to work 24/7. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why the majority of millennials will likely never be rich, and more importantly, what you can do right now to break free from the cycle, start thinking like the wealthy, and actually take control of your financial future before it's too late. The first reason most millennials struggle to get rich is mindset. From a young age, they were conditioned to believe that success comes from following a linear path. Go to college, get a stable job, save some money, and retire after decades of hard work. While that may have worked for previous generations, it's almost impossible to get wealthy following that formula today. The world has changed, and yet the advice hasn't. Millennials are often told to play it safe and avoid risk, but the harsh reality is that wealth rarely comes from playing it safe. It comes from taking smart risks, learning from failures, and being willing to bet on yourself when others are too scared. Meanwhile, many millennials are drowning in debt, whether it's student loans, credit card bills, or car payments, which not only slows wealth building, but also teaches them a false sense of financial progress when they make minimum payments and call it staying on track. At the same time, consumer culture pushes them to buy experiences, gadgets, and status symbols they can't afford, further draining any chance of saving or investing wisely. Combine this with the rise of inflation, stagnant wages, and a housing market that is increasingly out of reach, and it's clear why so many millennials feel financially stuck. But here's the good news. It's not all doom and gloom. By understanding the patterns that trap most millennials, you can consciously avoid them. You can learn to think like the wealthy, prioritizing assets over liabilities, investing early, and creating multiple income streams so that instead of working for money, your money starts working for you. This shift in mindset is often the single most important step toward breaking free from the cycle that keeps most millennials from ever achieving true financial freedom.
The second major reason millennials struggle to become rich is a lack of financial education. Most people graduate high school or even college knowing very little about how money actually works. They might understand basic math or how to balance a checkbook, but very few know how to invest, how to leverage debt responsibly, or how to create systems that generate passive income. Instead, they rely on outdated advice, generic get-rich-slowly strategies, or financial influencers who often sell theory without practical steps. This knowledge gap leads to costly mistakes: buying cars that depreciate instantly, renting instead of strategically investing in property, or failing to take advantage of compound interest early in life. Millennials often assume that financial freedom is something that will happen later, after decades of grinding. But the truth is that the earlier you start thinking strategically about money, the faster you can build wealth. Wealth isn't just about earning more. It's about controlling your finances, making smart decisions, and being intentional with every dollar you earn. And here's the catch. Most millennials never get this lesson because it's rarely taught by schools or parents, leaving them to learn through trial and error. The good news is that you don't have to repeat their mistakes. By educating yourself on investing, taxes, and the power of leveraging assets, you can accelerate your path to wealth. You can build financial security in your 20s and 30s that most people won't achieve until their 50s, or never at all. And that's why the millennials who do get rich aren't the ones following the crowd. They're the ones who take control of their financial education and apply it strategically to grow money smarter, not harder. The third reason most millennials will never be rich is a reliance on a single income stream, their 9-to-5 job. For decades, society taught us that a stable job equals financial security. But in today's economy, that couldn't be further from the truth. Jobs can be lost overnight, salaries rarely keep up with inflation, and promotions often don't reflect your true value. Yet the majority of millennials continue to trade their time for money, believing that working harder or longer hours will eventually make them wealthy. Meanwhile, those who break free of this cycle focus on building multiple streams of income: side businesses, investments, freelance work, digital products, or rental properties, so that their wealth isn't tied to a single paycheck. The key is creating assets that generate income even when you're not actively working. This doesn't happen by accident. It requires planning, consistent effort, and a willingness to step out of the comfort zone that a traditional career provides. Millennials who understand this principle are able to grow wealth exponentially because they're leveraging time, skills, and money in ways most people never consider. On the other hand, those who remain dependent on their job alone are left vulnerable, always stressed, and rarely able to build real financial freedom. Breaking this habit is not easy. It requires discipline, patience, and a shift in how you view work and money. But it is absolutely necessary if you want to escape the trap that keeps most millennials from ever getting rich.
So if you want to avoid the fate of most millennials and actually build real wealth, you need to take action. And it starts with 3 key steps. First, change your mindset. Stop thinking that wealth is a distant goal and start thinking like someone who already has it. Wealthy people focus on opportunities, not obstacles. They prioritize assets over liabilities, and they understand that time is their most valuable resource. Second, invest in your financial education. Learn how money works, how to invest, and how to make smart decisions that grow your wealth instead of draining it. This includes understanding stocks, real estate, digital assets, and tax strategies that allow your money to compound faster than inflation. Third, create multiple income streams. Don't rely solely on a 9-to-5 job. Start a side hustle. Invest in income-generating assets, or develop digital products that can make money even when you're sleeping. The earlier you start, the more time your wealth has to grow, and the easier it becomes to scale. Most millennials never do this because they're waiting for permission, waiting for the perfect time, or waiting for a job promotion that may never come. But you don't have to wait. By taking control of your mindset, your knowledge, and your income, you can break free from the cycle that traps most millennials and start building real, lasting wealth. The choice is simple. Follow the same path as the majority and stay stuck, or take deliberate action now and give yourself the chance to become truly rich. And here's the truth that most millennials don't realize. Becoming rich isn't about luck, connections, or some secret code. It's about consistency, strategy, and mindset. Every wealthy millennial you see didn't get there by accident. They made deliberate choices. They invested in themselves, and they acted while others hesitated. The path isn't easy, and it won't happen overnight, but it is absolutely possible if you commit to it today. Start small if you have to, but start. Invest your time in learning. Invest your money in assets, and invest your energy in building multiple streams of income. Avoid the traps of consumer debt, unnecessary spending, and the illusion that security comes from a paycheck alone. Remember, time is your greatest ally when it comes to wealth, and the earlier you take control, the faster your money can work for you instead of the other way around. Most millennials will never be rich because they never take these steps, but you can be different. You can be the exception, the one who breaks the cycle, builds generational wealth, and lives life on your own terms. The choice is simple. Follow the same path as the majority and stay stuck, or take deliberate action now and give yourself the chance to become truly rich.